Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live, and you are here at the zoo. We've got the Prepared Mind on YouTube, the Prepared Mind on YouTube, thepreparedmind.club, subscribestar.com. Just want to make sure everyone knows there's more than one way to find us. Just as we've known all along, they want to silence us. But welcome back. If you are here, you are live. And if you've got something to say, we've got a super chat button right up there. Sunday Night Live is a special show. And there's lots of thank yous to go around on it, because this is where we put all of the Prepared Mind universe together. Whether you're a prepper or a prepping investor or a country, it doesn't matter what you do or even where you're at around the world. Good golly. Have you been paying attention this weekend to what's happening? Oh, what a world. I have been paying attention because I've been once again convalescing. So I got a combination of various pharmaceuticals. I have caffeine, alcohol, and, well, numerous other natural cures. Anyways, folks, we're here, and a lot really has gone on domestically, internationally. There's just, and I don't even have to do the fear mongering, but I know it's taken its toll on people in the general public because tempers are very short at the moment. Pretty short. Mine included. Well, loaded up on coffee. So now it's time to get to something. I like to start the shows off with our front runners, because they always seem to be front, and I think everyone's found out where they jump in the show at. But right out the gate, we've got Chin Music, and he is doing a big super chat. Any super chat, $50 or more. And I get an 18-year Glenfiddich Scotch. I was going to, get an 18-year Glenlivet, but I had a bunch of, 18 small ones that I had to consolidate. And so I'm back up to that for now. And plus, I tell you, Friday I was literally horizontal. Okay, anyways, here's to you, Mr. Chin Music. Thank you for the great sponsorship of the show. Oh, that'll sneak up on you. $52.23 right out the gate. Thank you, sir. And let's get to what you say. He says, man, I'm about to hit the road driving during the show. I know you guys will keep me entertained. And yes, you guys, when Chin says that, he means me. He means Jolene. He means everybody on the show. I want to get way up, if we can, topping 400 people. The best way to do that is everyone who's here, you know it's going to be a kick-ass show. Don't play any fucking games. Hit the thumbs up button. That tells YouTube we like this crazy guy. He's a lot of fun. We would like to hang out and have a beer with him. So, yeah, and if you want to comment, you've got to be a subscriber also. So subscribe down below. And if you want to do a super chat, that's how you get on the screen, and we'll have examples of that. There's other ways to get a hold of us, though, and get your thoughts, your prognostications, your experience onto the screen, and that's through Venmo, CashApp, and PayPal, and that's down in the video description. Now, Chin Music has done a $52.23 Venmo, and he says, so now I'm not MAGA if I don't support Israel? Who's making the rules? I had some asshat online call me a pussy because I don't support the war. I told him the toughest part of a 2-week war is the first 6 years. Oh, guys, I got to tell you, that's good stuff. He insulted me again when I told him this season we are 0-7 in regime changes. I then invited him to test his theory that I'm a pussy at our martial arts studio any Tuesday when we are point sparring. Mike Tyson was right. The internet has made people way too comfortable writing checks with their mouths. Their skills can't cash. I could go on for hours about how this war is a bad idea, but suffice it to say, Donald J. Trump has done a 180 on what he promised me, and I'm pissed. We may lose the Senate also at this rate. Okay, so Chin, thank you again for the $52.23 super chat donation. That keeps the lights on in the bunker. It keeps the spam, and it keeps the scotch, and it keeps the tuna fish in the pantry. Folks, get prepared. The promises that we're getting are getting more erratic, and we'll be talking about, we need to talk about the Samson directive, and we need to talk about where's Waldo Netanyahu. We'll get to all of that and more. It's your show, though, folks, your show. Now we're going to answer these questions coming from Old Chin Music. He says, I'm not MAGA now if I don't support Israel. So, no, you are not. I am not. I have been kicked out of the Make America Great Again club because I do not support this war where we are an army, a military, fighting for Israel as Israel's vassal slaves. You guys know how many Israelis are over in the Middle East? By Middle East, I mean in Bahrain or United Arab Emirates or Qatar or Kuwait. No, none. They're all hiding in bunkers right now in Israel. Oh, and they're being promised hell in Tel Aviv. You know, I am not rooting for Iran. I am rooting for peace. The only way to get peace is for enemies to be defeated. And right now they're defeating the shit out of each other. Are they not? Anyways, yeah, you're not MAGA if you don't support Israel. And the reason is, I need to give the reason. And I think we all need to understand this, is when the Pied Piper plays his tune, all the rats follow him. Doesn't matter whether the Pied Piper goes straight, left, right, around the circle, up the stairs, down the catwalk, across the rope. As long as you're following him, it doesn't matter. You're not allowed to question. So our Pied Piper, in this case, it would be President Trump. He played a tune called Let's Make America Great Again. And part of that tune was, let's get all the illegals out of the country. Another chorus in the tune was, we're not going to get any more wars and regime changes. I'm the peace president. Another great song of his was, we're going to close the border. We're going to get rid of the fraud and waste and abuse and overspending with Department of Government Efficiency, right? We had all these Pied Piper promises. As we've gone along, release the Epstein files, arrest, clear out the deep state, hello, right? All those things. That was the Pied Piper tune, and it was magical. We all sat up, but who's playing that tune? That sounds like the America I want. The name of the tune was Make America Great Again. And so we started following Trump. And at first, the song was exactly what he told us it would be. So we're hopping and skipping and dancing as Immigrations and Customs Enforcement went out and started making arrests. And illegals were going crazy, and the Democrats were mad about it. And then judges started getting in the way, and Trump didn't do anything about it. And then we looked and said, hey, what about that part of the song called Epstein Files Released? Right? So we're going along. Trump made a left, and I just stopped. I said, this isn't the song I asked for. I didn't ask for a song that says, we're not releasing the Epstein files. It's a hoax. I don't need you. I was like, oh, you don't need me. Okay. So I can still hear the song playing, and I still hear a bunch of dumbasses following them, right? You're not Make America Great Again because you never were mesmerized, hypnotized by the song he was singing. Right? That's the deal with the Pied Piper, is you're not supposed to question it. You're just supposed to follow him, no matter where, all the way to your doom. And here we are, folks. No Epstein files, no arrests, no prosecutions. Deep state, election fraud, no arrests, no real investigations, no one going to jail, no prosecutions. Russia collusion hoax, that election fraud, no big deal. No more wars. What are we doing? Right? We've got everything. That's where we're at. So no, you're not Make America Great Again, because I know you wanted those other parts of the song. He just got everyone all excited, played the first couple of notes of let's get these illegals out of here. But now he's singing, they're good people. We're going to give them amnesty. Anyways, you said, who's making the rules? Well, I think the rules are being made on many different levels. But when I examine exactly what the rules are, and you guys out there in the audience, number one, share the internet address right there. But here's a question for you. What's the name of the program that the Israelis are working on, which is designed to destroy the West, supplant us, overtake us, consume our wealth, and leave us in shreds and torn, civilization? Right? Kalergi plan. It's the Kalergi plan. Look it up. I've been talking about the protocols of the learned elders of Sion. And just today, someone released a video of an Israeli on stage at some sort of a conference bragging about how, that's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they're doing. It's just another plan that accomplishes the same goal. That goal is the destruction the goal is the destruction of Edom or Amalek, any one of their enemies that Israel and world Jewry has any enemies they've made for the last 3,500 freaking years. Right? They want to destroy America. That's their golden calf, says Netanyahu. So that's what's going on. So if someone called you a pussy, it's because they didn't have a legitimate, intelligent, even a pseudo-intellectual response to you. They just go right for the ad hominem. Now, not to say that I don't enjoy calling people dirty, rank, awful names just to be an insulting, prick. I'm good for that, but I also like to give people an intellectual beatdown, and then, as the pièce de résistance, that's when I insult them. Anyways, man, I know you're good for it, Chin. You don't take any shit off anybody. You're like that. Anyways, so when we get down to the bottom, you write that Donald Trump has done a 180 on what he promised me, and I'm pissed. We may lose the Senate also at this rate. So this is an interesting comment of yours. He's done a 180 on what he promised me. See, like you, I took it personal. I know that he's selling something to the whole country, and that's why we had to listen and support him for all those fucking hours at all of his rallies and all that. Listening to it, watch it, so the TV knows it, right? So the programming knows it, yada, yada, yada. All of these things we did. Even though everything he said isn't what I want, right? I've got my top 10, and that's good enough. I didn't expect any miracles, right? He's throwing money around during the campaign, and all politicians do that, right? But I felt like I was betrayed by him. Now you're interestingly talking about politics here when you say we may lose the Senate also at this rate. We lost the Senate back in 2024. We lost the Senate in 2022, 2016, 18. And I'm not being facetious with you. I'm just saying, whether the Republicans control the Senate or whether the Republicans are the minority in the Senate, they always lose. So it's funny that you're right. We may lose the Senate at this rate. Right now, there's a Republican majority with a Republican vice president, and we still can't get safe elections, the SAFE Act passed, with a Republican Senate that has the majority plus the vice president. That's how weak the Republicans are. See, what they want to do is they want to lose. They don't want to be in charge because then they get the blame. You see, they take the Israeli, I'm a victim mentality when it comes to being a minority. And when they're a majority, they don't do anything, so they can't be blamed for it later. In other words, they don't want to be blamed that they were in charge and made a decision. And when the Democrats are in charge, they say, you can't blame us. We weren't in charge. They're more than happy to lose the majority. They don't give a shit. Plus, you have to remember that our government is now occupied by a foreign enemy nation state. Period. Now, whether a country says they're our enemy and make us go to war with them, or there's a country that says, you're our ally, but we're going to treat you like an enemy, threaten you like an enemy, and make you go to war, that's still an enemy. I think our government is controlled and occupied by the nation of Israel through Epstein and his associates and system designed and built under Mossad, the Israeli government, with help from the CIA, aka the deep state. Our country is owned. Washington, D.C. A couple weeks ago, we started talking about how do we take our country back. We tried voting. Local, state, federal, never helps. Hasn't done it my whole life. Voted my ass off legally and only once every election. But nothing changes. In fact, it just continues to get worse. The Republican Party becomes weaker and weaker and more socialist. The Democrats have run so far to the left that even Democrats are like, I don't know if we're this fucked in the head, but I guess I'm a Democrat. I'll vote anyways. And they do. Now, our politicians take above the board that we can see hundreds of millions of dollars every election, if not billions, out of Israel, the America-Israeli Pedophile Action Committee, AIPAC, and other Israeli and Jewish organizations. And it is really disgusting. I really believe that we need to have a it's gonna come out and say it, a revolution. We need to have a revolution at this point. But it's not. It's to restore our Constitution. The set of rules, very small, very simple. Our Constitution needs to be 100% restored so that our place as the people are rightfully where we need to be, and government, which we create through the Constitution, serves us. Us, government. And this tells the government what it must do. And this, the U.S. Constitution, tells the government it works for us. And the Constitution itself tells them what they can't do. It restricts them. You don't get to say, well, these are my responsibilities, but I'm just going to add some more power and authority on top of it. That's what government has done for decades and a couple of centuries even. You see, there's nothing wrong with the Constitution. This is a beautiful document. It works great. What's wrong is the government and how it's assumed authority for itself. How it's made itself more powerful and more powerful, given itself more authority, and even claims to have rights now. We, the people, have rights, capital R. Government has authority that we, the sovereign people, give it. It only has authority. The government only has authority. It has no rights. Only human beings have rights. Government has authority. We, the people, have rights and authority. And one of our authorities is we can remove the government to protect our rights. You see, your rights can actually never be taken from you. All you can do is surrender them, not act upon them. You always have the authority to exercise a right. You just have to remember, government, when it turns tyrannical, doesn't respect that. And that's where the violence is going to come in. That's where things like this are going to matter. In fact, they were handing a bunch of those out in the state of Virginia. Free 30-round magazines for everyone who showed up. Good job, Magpul. And anyways, thank you, Mr. Chin Music. Let's move on, if we shall. We're gonna switch gears a little bit with Darcy T doing a $50 PayPal super chat. And after that, I'm going to get to you guys. So super chat button right up there will get you on the board. But first, again, Glenfiddich, 18 years, single malt scotch. Wrapping up the last of my bottles. When you got lined up all of them with half an inch in there, that adds up. Anyways, thank you, Darcy T. Salud there. Okay. She says, good evening, John. We've been hearing that the war is nearing the end by Trump, and that oil prices will remain high only for a short period of time. He's assured us that it will go down significantly afterward. Now we're told that Marines are being deployed to the Middle East, which I believe will eventually be sent into Iran. Why do I get the feeling that the United States is being sacrificed so that Israel will become a major regional power in the Middle East? Correction. Israel wants to be a superpower in the Middle East. Not just a major regional power, but a superpower in the Middle East. And the reason that that feeling you're getting is because, number one, that is a stated goal of theirs. It is justified through their belief that somewhere in the Bible, God promised them the entire Middle East. And they have nuclear weapons. That would make them a superpower. But you see, all the real estate they're trying to get, not a lot of food growing in there. But they're willing to risk everything, Israel is. It's crazy business. Crazy business. So let's go back up to the top here. Yeah, we keep hearing that it's going to be a 2-day, it's going to be a 4-day, 6-day, 6-year, right? Right? It kept getting to be more days. Then it was like, we'll stay there as long as we have to. We heard that about Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. Well, not the Iran part, but now we're getting it about Iran. They thought it was going to be a cakewalk. They thought Iran was going to capitulate, that they would give up. They thought that the people were going to rise up. One thing we have learned, and it is very comforting to me, is that Iran, through its top chief, is the spokesman who's out there publicly speaking, who's also walking around publicly on the street. He has said that Iran's beef, its issue, its hatred is not for the United States people. Their hatred, and when they chant death to America, what they mean is death to Washington, D.C. over in America. And they've said that. They have explicitly stated they don't want to kill the American people. It's the regime in Washington, D.C. The same regime that has allowed in 25 to 50 million illegals into our country that we're paying for, housing, feeding, funding. The same regime in Washington, D.C. that has pushed the homosexual and transgender ideology on us. The same regime in Washington, D.C. that is sending billions, hundreds of billions of dollars every year out of service to you and I as the taxpayer, but to other countries, other programs, other peoples, and of course, to all of their good buddies. We were told Doge, right? Department of Government Efficiency. Well, so when they say death to Washington, D.C., I do not want Washington, D.C. blown up. I don't want everyone who's there, most of them are homosexuals, blown up. But Iran might do just that. I don't really believe they're going to, though, and I'll tell you why. They can't reach it with any of their ICBMs or missiles. They don't have the range. I don't believe they have a submarine large enough to hold their biggest, most powerful weapon. Nor do I think they could, even if they had a submarine, get that close to our coastline, knowing that we're at war with them. This war is not going to end quickly. Trump is, Bibi Netanyahu disappeared about 6 days ago. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Trump has been panicking for about the last 6 days, telling Iran they need to surrender, telling Iran, let's do a ceasefire. And Iran says, we're not doing a ceasefire because you guys attacked us while we were negotiating. And after we agreed, we conceded. This is Iran, conceded to the requests of Jared Kushner and his asshat partner. They went and bombed them after that. They got them to concede because they wanted to bomb them. So they said, that's it. There's going to be no ceasefire. By the way, they're not going to, the war doesn't end until their enemies are defeated. They have given 24 hours notice. I think that was about 12 hours ago. 24 hours notice is what they gave all citizens in Tel Aviv. All citizens in Tel Aviv have been told, get out of the city. This is your chance. I don't think Iran has a nuke. They may have something very, 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 very large. My suspicion is that once they have given everyone due notice, that they're going to shower hundreds of missiles into Tel Aviv and soak up all of the THAAD and Patriot missiles and Iron Dome missiles that are left. And then they're going to drop some really big fucking bombs on it. That's my guess. Now, will that defeat Israel in Iran's eyes? I don't think so. They would have to ensure that they've absolutely decimated and blown Israel, meaning especially Tel Aviv, but all the Israeli cities, blow them to smithereens and absolutely just destroy the military. Military, by the way, that is still trying to attack Iran, but closer to home is also attacking, well, they're saying they're attacking terrorists in Lebanon. But that's what they said about Gaza. They're attacking the terrorists. And then they started killing all the men and the women and the children. They said, we don't care. That's what we're doing. They're all going to be terrorists anyways. So now they're starting with the same thing up in Lebanon. We're just killing the terrorists, even though they bombed Christian churches and killed Christians and killed other people who aren't terrorists. I think Iran will be satisfied if the government of Israel and the military are completely wiped out. I guess we'll find out how that works. Having said that, the United States of America, in order to get out of this, in order for Trump to get out of this, he's not going to be able to save face. I mean, he can lie and say he won. He can lie, or he can tell a story, or it may even be the truth that Iran has agreed that we should just go home and we'll stop killing each other like civilized people. And then Trump can say, okay, yeah, the la. His art of the deal bullshit. And he'll tell us about all the other great concessions they got. We got a lot going on there. Now, as far as oil prices, they're going to go up, and they're going to be up for a while. They may stay up. How high? I don't know. Are they as high as they are going to be? I think they're going to get higher even. I think they're going to get another 50 to 100% higher from where they are right now. I think they're going to stay there at least 5 to 6 months. It could be permanent. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm planning on things staying shitty, because you don't just shut off refineries and well systems, all the pipelines, all the trucking, all the supply, all the support. They're shutting down well fields. They're shutting down pumps. All over the Middle East, they're just shutting everything down because the oil can't get out. It's going to be a mess, right? Now, we're supposed to have the Marine Expeditionary Forces being deployed over there. I've seen numbers 2,500. I've heard 5,000. The latest one I hear is 10. And that really follows the normal. They're going to send 2,500. And then someone doubles it and literally doubles it again. People are just making the number bigger. What it really is, I don't know. They're being deployed to the Middle East. Are they going to find their way in Iran? Eventually, if they do not stop. There's a problem here. I don't want Marines fighting Iran on Iranian soil because the Israelis want their greater Israel project. At the same time, while using the blood of our men, our treasure, to fight this war for them, just so they can own the fucking politicians in Washington, D.C. Folks, that is why shit has hit the fan. Right? I called it back in March of 2020. I said, that's it. SHTF is here over the COVID thing. Because they locked America down. I was like, okay, they're now going into their end game. And they've been trying to defeat us and destroy us and demoralize us. And look what they're doing. They're not quitting. They're not giving up. They own the government more than ever. They allowed us to believe Trump was going to be the Make America Great Again guy. Right? They're owned. They're controlled. I feel that we're all lined up for the Kalergi program, which is the control of our nation by the nation of Israel. And they say it, they admit it, folks. It's not me saying it, they say it. All right. Great topics. And thank you for the great supporting super chats. Let's do some more. Let's get into it. From the crowd out there, what do you guys want to talk about? We've got 360 people live right now. I want to hit 400 or more, so share the internet address. And, of course, thumbs up the video. You're going to love what we're going to talk about next. Jolene, what do we got? We got Opie Dopey with a $2 super chat. Right there. All right. Well, everyone knows. Everyone knows this is a war around the world to fight terrorism. And we do. We've got Hamas right here. Yeah. Peppa Pig on the show has been renamed Hamas, right? Because, jihadis love pork products. It's funny that they would choose the name Ham. Hamas, are you ready? I'm ready. Good. This is an awful thing, folks, that this got sent to me. And so whenever it comes up, I have to pull it out and play a joke, play a game. Anyways, thank you, Opie Dopey. I appreciate it. I got to stare at that ridiculous pig whenever I'm in this part of the house and the desk. All right. Jolene, who do we want to talk to next? Well, we got Big Dan the Man. Big Dan Erickson with a $5 super chat donation. He said, I did my taxes Saturday at H&R Block. First time in 4 years I get a refund back. Thanks, Trump. Surprised we have not had more attacks by sleeper cells. Well, I haven't gotten my taxes back. Not yet. I got to find out if, what do I have to find out? Shit, I can't remember. Anyways, I sent all my paperwork in. I have to have a tax guy do it because of the difficulties with internet stuff. Anyways, here we go. I'm glad you're getting some money back, dude. That would be great. It would be great if we all got our 5,000, 1776 and a 2,500. And how about just no more fucking taxes, period? But, getting some of our own money that we overpaid, that's a nice thing, I guess. But you write this: surprised we have not had more sleeper cells. You see, President Trump came on the microphone and he said, hey, we've got our eye on these sleeper cells. Look, dude, if you know there's sleeper cells here and you've got your eye on them and we're not to worry and that you're watching them, go fucking arrest them. They've got their eye on them. They seem to have the government, the FBI, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, they seem to have their eye on everybody, except they never do anything to stop the crime. It's always, well, let's go catch them later. Well, unless you're a Republican, and then they show up at your house at 5 a.m, which is why I keep everything very hot and warm and ready. I tell you, though, yeah, the sleeper cells, let's just say the sleeper cells are real, because I believe there are actually violent jihadi types over here. They will wait until they're given a command. I don't know how organized they are. I don't know how hierarchical they are. I don't know if they got a hierarchy that is very tight or whether they just very loose. They set up their own plans in their own areas for whatever is available. I don't know. You see, the Iranians said, they don't want to hurt us, the American people. I'm more inclined to believe them than the Israelis, who said, we're not committing genocide while they commit genocide. And they call for a ceasefire so then they can bomb schools and hospitals again. I do believe the Iranians more than that, only because they haven't turned the sleeper cells loose. But we were told that the West Coast, your coast over there, Big Dan, could get hit. That means Portland or SeaTac, San Francisco, LA, Sacramento, San Diego. Those are all big West Coast targets. They could get hit. We'll find out. I don't want it to happen, but it could happen. Good golly, I got to tell you. Attacks by sleeper cells. It is coming. It's very possible. Thanks for the great donation, Big Dan. Folks, we've got people around the world watching this show. The Netherlands, United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Australia, of course, up in Canada, down in Mexico, Central and South America. We've even had people during COVID from China slip out, and also Russia, of all places, but Germany as well. We've got some kroners out of Norway. Just people letting us know where they're at. If you would, you don't have to do a super chat. Just let the let everyone know what country you're in. No cities, please. But it'd be interesting to know all the different countries. So let's do this, though. Let's get back to your thoughts. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind as we continue to head into more SHTF, more World War III? Oh, it's a very complicated technical war as well. Jolene, who is next? And it's holy bananas. It's Nancy Keg with a $50 super chat donation. Nancy doesn't usually do a 50, so she must think I'm thirsty. Thank you, Nancy, very much. All right. Not too many, not too fast, but if that's what you guys want, I appreciate the painkiller, because I've been going old-fashioned painkiller for surgery recovery. Always recover so much faster when you're younger. So smooth, like mother's milk, I tell you. Okay, so Nancy says, been missing at times. Oh, you're so much to do and so little time left to do it. Give it hell tonight, John. Semper Fi. Okay, let's have some fun with this. This is one I've been wanting to get to. Benjamin Netanyahu, King Bibi. It is being surmised. It's being released by the Russians, RT News, Al Jazeera, Iran, China. So can you trust it? 100% no. The claim that Benjamin Bibi, King of the Israelis, Netanyahu, has been killed. There was a picture that was released on the internet, and it was examined by artificial intelligence, and it appeared to be Netanyahu on his back, covered in filth and dust while wearing his suit, dead. And the computer says it was like a 99.25 or 99.75, or maybe it was 98.7. It was very, very, very high. The probability it was not artificial intelligence. That was the thing. Jolene, we've got a $50 super chat from Chelsea P. That would be Chelsea and husband, Chelsea Weering. So if you would, keep an eye out for Chelsea's super chat comments. I just popped up. Glad I caught it. And I owe C 2 super chats also because we missed them last week. All right, let's continue with my topic. Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you, Jolene. The rumor mill is going mad. So I mentioned 6 days a little bit ago. 6 days ago, approximately, there was some really big bombing going on in Tel Aviv. And we were told it was the very important leadership building. Netanyahu's son over in Miami, Florida, typically posts on X 30 to 40 times a day. That's the report. 6 days ago, that stopped, and he hasn't posted anything. So people are beginning to think that old Bibi is dead. So they released a video of him. Right? And it's funny. Let me tell you about this video. Netanyahu is standing behind a podium at a curtain, and he's talking with his hands. And his right hand at one point has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers on it. And I use that picture as the thumbnail for tonight's video. Yeah, there's a couple points in that video where he's got 6 fingers. That is a huge and typical artificial intelligence fuck up. Pretty funny, I think, in a way. I think it's the artificial intelligence computer shitting on us and just trolling us. Anyways, the Israelis claim that you're not seeing what you're seeing. And they posted a coffee shop video. And the right-wing media says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trolling the rumor mills that he's dead. Interesting. So after they release this video with 6 fingers, the Israelis and then the American media claim we didn't see what we saw. But the new video, right, in response to the hoax claims, the IDF, Mossad, Israel, they produced the video, at the coffee shop. At a coffee shop. Claiming he's alive and he's really Bibi. And he picks up his cup of coffee and he waves with one hand, and then he switches and shows us 5 fingers on each hand as if it was a miracle that they got that done right. But it's still AI. First off, he picked up a cup of coffee without the cooling sleeve on it. And he's holding it. And he doesn't act like it's hot. You pick up they just set the coffee down, you pick it up, fucking gets hot. Right? No problem for him, I guess. He's Superman. Doesn't need a sleeve. The coat he has, he's got his left hand in his coat pocket down, on his side. And it has an obvious hole and an obvious zipper that you can see. But the right side of the coat, he never puts his hand in that pocket. In fact, there is no pocket on the right side that I could see. So now Israelis have coats that only have one pocket for your left hand and left hand only. That was kind of a whoops. But the big F up, folks, the big one, the killer fuck up, is the coffee. No matter where it's at, it's always perfectly flat. It doesn't do this in the cup. right? It stays 100% flat no matter where he's got it, but it doesn't spill. What I mean by that, BB picks up the cup, tilts it about that far. The coffee's still flat coming out, but it doesn't spill. It doesn't drip. It doesn't run down the side of the cup. It is an overly full cup, right? And then it takes a long sip of really hot coffee. Takes a nice long sip, levels the cup, and you can see it hasn't gone down any. Fake. It's like, yeah, they got the 6-finger thing right. I got to tell you, Nancy. I got to tell you, these people, they're serious. They're very serious. They're also very dangerous. And they're just going to continue to lie to us until I see the real BB. These are computer fakes. The name of the coffee shop, Satar. It's not Satan, it's Satar or Sata. Interesting that, yeah, they got the first 4 letters of that right. All right. Nancy, thank you for the great support, the great super chat. And now to Jolene. We are, of course, looking for Chelsea P, Chelsea and husband. So keep an eye out for her, yes. And then let's see who else is up on the Prepared My Channel Sunday Night Live. And it's our friend Biaxo with a $4.99 super chat. And he says, can I be a supporter of Make America Great Again without being MAGA or a Trumper? Because I don't like those conditions. I did sign up for this. Can I be a supporter of Make America Great Again without being a MAGA? I don't like I signed up for Make America Great Again. I did not sign up for do all the things that was making America shitty again. Open border, bringing in illegals, letting them stay, paying for it, sending hundreds of billions of dollars out to other countries, and fraud and everything else. Yeah, the Epstein files, right? That's what I signed up for. I don't like the conditions under the new Make America Great Again. Now, you can call yourself whatever you want, Biaxo. Here's the thing that's important, is the Americans that love America, us constitutional, freedom-loving Americans, moved right past Make America Great Again and started saying, shouldn't we put America first? And that's when America First became a thing, and it was immediately attacked as white supremacist, as nationalist, also means Nazi, white supremacist, nationalist, domestic terror threat group, right? They couldn't have us having our own name, America First. Some people have added America First, America Only, right? You can call yourself what you want. Just know and understand and believe, if you will, what's necessary, because no matter what we call ourselves, whether you're a patriot or a communist, whether you're an Israeli here trying to screw our country over, or an Iranian, or an Afghani, or a Pakistani, or a Somali, or whatever you are, and you're here to ruin this fucking country, right? We're going to have our fight over here. It's coming, right? When you signed up, this is a question I asked myself. What did I sign up for? Right? I literally didn't go down and sign my name on the dotted line for a movement. I didn't take an oath to do anything. I just know that my job as an American is to protect myself, those that I love, and make sure everyone is well informed. Right? Paul Revere rode through the dark of night, as the tale goes, with a single light, shouting, "The redcoats are coming." Paul Revere, patriot. Paul Revere, hero of the war. Paul Revere gives us our direction. Now remember, that was at the beginning of the revolution. Paul Revere's ride. And along the way, we had other things like Lexington and Concord, other battles, right? The 1776 Declaration, the birth of the military, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Army. right? We had all of these things happen, but it started with people riding through the night, like Paul Revere, telling everyone it is on. That's what I'm doing now. That's my portion. That's my start at this. I signed up for it long before I even started the show. My job is to protect the country. You guys have done a great job. We've got really good numbers tonight. We're at 387 on my ticker. I want you to share the internet address with friends, family, coworkers, hell, even people you don't like. Wake up. Watch this show. We got a lot to talk about. Really, really a lot to talk about. Thank you, Bioxo. Jolene, who's up next? Oh, he says, I hope he gets... yes, I do get you. You're being facetious, man. I know what you signed up for. You didn't sign up for Make America. I got you. You're being facetious. Very nice. Jolene, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? I can feel the medicine. The tingling means it's working. Aha. Here it is. This is from C, who last week did a $50 super chat. And so I'll take the scotch now. And I know Chelsea did a $50 super chat. And I know C has done a $50 super chat. But I got to be careful here. I don't get too far behind the 8 ball. Thank you, C, very much. Always for the great support. Always for the great topics and questions. And for being a terrific, facetious, smart ass yourself. Woo! But I think, my friends, that's kind of why we all get along here. We want to know what's going on, but we want to maintain our humanity and our sincerity as well as a sense of humor and try and keep our intellect straight. Thank you. I was parched and now I'm not. Oh, boy. Woo! I tell you. Okay. If we get any comments out of C, we got a couple of comments. I told him two subjects for that $50 one because, interest was worth one last week, 2 this week. Who else do we have out there, Jolene? And it's Broke Stacker. Well, with silver and gold going up the way they have in the last couple of years, yeah, you will get a sharper ding on your wallet if you want to buy an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold even. But better to have your money in this than sitting in a Bank of America bank or a Wells Fargo bank or a Citibank or a Chase bank, a bank that can confiscate your wealth, in other words. So Broke Stacker says the major flaw in our system is that the feds regulate interstate commerce, Environmental Protection Agency, United States Geological Services, Federal Bureau of Investigation, all built on this concept. We need a new way. Okay, here's the deal. Broke, answers are right here. If we get a reset, right, a restoration, a reset of our country, that, what you're pointing out, can very well be fixed. So the Interstate Commerce Clause, also known as the Long Arm Statute, allows Washington, D.C. to go to all of the 50 individual various free states and have jurisdiction because they claim they're allowed to regulate interstate commerce. Meaning if Florida sells oranges to Georgia and Georgia returns peaches, then commerce has crossed the states, and therefore the government has the authority to regulate that, to tax it or whatever. Get involved with it. Put restrictions on it, limitations, rules. Yeah. There's one section in here, the old Constitution, where it talks about the federal government regulating interstate commerce. Now, the word regulate, the same way it's used in the Second Amendment, means a uniform, well-practiced situation. Okay? Regulating, making sure it's fair for everybody. Instead, the federal government has said, Well, if we have authority over any interstate commerce, that means we have jurisdiction everywhere. We have regulatory authority everywhere. And when they mean regulate, they mean tell you what to do, not make sure everyone's playing fair. Make sure the state of Florida doesn't charge a tax when it doesn't have taxing authority. Just stuff like they want to tell you, how much, everything. Everything becomes criminal, so then they can investigate. The FBI, you got the USGS, the Postal Services, the IRS. Everything is interstate commerce, right? That can be taken away with a more detailed explanation. Once again, they just take an old term, they redefine the term and use that to give themselves more authority. That's why the federal government continues to get more and more and more authority to where there's no end to it. There's no stopping it. Yeah. So if we get our reset, if we have a restoration revolution, we can go fix Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. I've got a big problem with that one. The government claiming it as exclusive jurisdiction over those areas, meaning no one else has a say and you can't tell them. That's why in Washington, D.C., they can arrest patriots, they can put them in the jail, deny them legal, medical, any assistance to just keep you there as a fucking political prisoner. Violate the fuck out of the 4th and the 5th using Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 and the Interstate Commerce Clause. See, there's a lot of smart people that understand the loopholes they created for themselves, and those can be taken away, broke stacker. The bigger problem we have is getting people to realize it's our fucking country, not theirs. It's not the government's country, it's ours. Continuity of government is nothing. It's not important compared to our rights. Our rights are most important. All right. Thank you, Broke Stacker. Let us move on, shall we? There's a lot to talk about. We're almost 1 hour into it. It is Sunday Night Live. It is the Zoo. Super chat button up there is how you get on the screen down here. Lots to talk about. I've got all of my list, but it is the Zoo, which means the thepreparedmind.club, which is where you can go to be live Monday through Friday with us. There's a premium button there. Bing, bing, bing. $2 a month. How hard is that? Same with Subscribestar. Same service. You can be with us live Monday through Friday on Subscribestar. $2 a month. Hit that. Bing, bing, bing. You're there every day. But Sunday Night Live, we're all here live at the same time. It's the Zoo. So Jolene, who's up on the Zoo? And we've got Ron Stryker checking in. Ron, congratulations. I heard. I'm pretty sure Uman let you know that we all know. And Ron with a $20 super chat. He says, speaking of Virginia, I ran into a guy from Virginia today buying a crap ton of ammunition all the way in Northwest Ohio. Well, to get to Northwest Ohio from Virginia, you got to do some driving. He said that there's no ammunition in the state, and he told me about the AR magazine handout at the Capitol. So what's going on is the state of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, basically the northeast corner of Virginia is what controls the whole state. They elected a communist, left-wing piece of CIA shit. And I've used her name before, but I changed it. I think her name is Spanberger, but I think I call her Sperm Burglar. She is just a CIA spook who wants children exposed to trans, drag queens, and homosexuality in school. And she's gone right after guns, folks. They want to outlaw, take away people's rights. Government, nowhere in the Constitution can it take your rights. The Constitution tells the government what its job is, not what it can do to us. It strictly tells them what you can't do to us. But they do it anyway. You know why? Because there's no negative consequence for them violating our rights. They should have to go to prison for violating our rights with their legislation or an executive order. Anytime they violate our rights, they should go to prison as surely as if we violate the law, we go to prison. In any event, they want to make high-capacity magazines illegal. And also in the legislation, guess what they did for themselves, the government of Virginia? Like the federal government in D.C., they exempted themselves as government workers in the Capitol. They exempted themselves from the rules, the gun restriction rules. So someone showed up at the Capitol and was handing out free 30-round magazines. Now, every time they passed one of these ridiculous rules, whether it's, Virginia or Illinois or Texas or California or any other fucking state, it's a law for a while and then it gets defeated in court. What it does cause, though, is it causes everyone to go out and buy all they can, because this law won't come into effect for a couple of months, a couple of weeks. People will go buy everything they can, ammunition-wise, magazine-wise, gun-wise, etc. If they don't own an AR-15, they'll go out and buy one or two or three. In fact, there's a ridiculous, filthy pile of shit sheriff in Virginia who is a Democrat piece of communist shit. She went out a couple of years ago and has bought 2 AR-15s. I thought nobody needed those. Nobody needs those. All those are good for is killing people. Then why do cops have them? I thought cops weren't supposed to, their number one chore is killing us. I thought they were just supposed to enforce traffic. Why do they get to have AR-15s or just full auto M4s, M16s? Pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, so I believe you, Mr. Stryker. There's no ammunition probably in Virginia. And then neighboring states are going to get sucked dry. California went really far with their rules. You're not allowed to import ammunition into the state of California from other states. Well, importing implies specifically you're conducting commercial business, commerce. As a private citizen, I am not a business. As a private citizen, I do not import or export. I have a right to sell. I have a right to buy. The government cannot interfere with that. So they say, well, you can't import it. If I buy ammunition in Nevada and I drive it over to California, that's not importing. Now, I'm sure a cop would argue with you. I'm sure a judge would like to hang you, and a district attorney would like to screw you over. But the fact of the matter is, commerce is not the same thing as living and existing as a free human. Driving is different than traveling, but it's how they enforce their law. So for the time being, there's going to be all kinds of trouble in and around the state of Virginia. But here we go. The hypocrites are at it. Thank you, Mr. Stryker. Good hearing from you, buddy. And again, congratulations. Jolene, who's up next? And by the way, yes, it is Jolene as the moderator-in-chief tonight. Mr. Uman is continuing with his extracurricular good times. I'm not allowed to share what he's up to, but I can't handle that kind of fun currently, especially in my convalescent state. I've been on my back all weekend. I feel like a hooker from the Bunny Ranch in Nevada. Not that I know anything about bunny ranches in Nevada. All right, let's continue. Jolene, who do we want to put next? And it's Chin Music with a $4.99 super chat donation. He says the Oscars are tonight. Oh, by the way, that statue of the Oscar, he's kind of like stands up. He's got his hands and it's a sword. It's a mere absolute replica of the Egyptian god of death. How appropriate is that? Chin asks, would it be treason to give the Iranian Revolutionary Guard the coordinates? I know where you're coming at this. There is a guy on the internet. I think he's got a TikTok channel, but he also gets played over on X and probably gets uploaded over to Facebook. I hope so. He's just a regular guy, just like me, just like you. We're all just regular American peeps. Anyways, what he did is he had a Google map of Israel. So a top-down satellite look, right? And he says, here's the coordinates of their nuclear, here's the coordinates of this building, here's the coordinates of that building. Anyways, some people are saying that was treasonous. Other people were saying that was absolutely illegal that he did that. Because, well, he's an American and he's giving out coordinates of these locations. Now, here's the deal. It's on the internet. It's public access information. He was revealing no secrets, no real-time data about where anyone was. But because he gave the coordinates, that's treason. He's an American, not an Israeli. He's not in the military. He's a civilian. In Israel, if they don't want anyone to know where any of their shit is, should black out all of Google Maps and any other satellite mapping thing. But if you believe for one fucking second that Iran didn't know where all of the important targets are and that they're relying on some American kid, it's in his 20s, right? Some American 20-something out there is helping them out. They're like, oh, man, we didn't see that. I'm glad that American guy showed us that because we didn't know that that's where we should send our bombs. We're going to keep bombing their diaper factory. Oh, good God. Anyways, yeah, the Oscars are tonight. The Oscars, get this, folks, are a legitimate false flag target. I'll say that again. The Oscars are a legitimate false flag target, and I'll tell you why, because I'm that kind of a guy. Hollywood is already in big, big trouble for its association with Jeffrey Epstein, P. Diddy, is it Jay-Z, and other disgusting, filthy, pedophile, child trafficking, sick, adrenochrome, cannibalistic motherfuckers. They are disgusting people, and they know it. Look up Ricky Gervais when he hosted the Oscars several years ago. It was either the Grammys or the Oscars. Oscars. He had that whole room shaking in their fucking boots, nervously laughing as he called out people out there for being absolute scum. They could bomb the shit out of it. They could bomb a part of it. They could claim in other words, kill some people, play for the sympathy card so we forget about Epstein and hate Iran. Maybe also the higher ups. Remember, it's, Hollywood, media, all they're really the lower rung of the club. Then you get up to the politicians in DC, they're part of the club too. And then you got, right there with them is the corporations. They're there with the politicians. Then you get up to someone like Epstein. He's still not the top. He is just the administrative coordinating bottleneck. But he takes his directions from the Rothschilds. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, the only reason I said that is because Epstein fucking said it. The Rothschilds are named in the Epstein files well over 1,000 times. Yeah. And so also all weekend long, the Rothschilds are being called out everywhere and a bunch of other things. But the coordinates, I don't think Iran wants to blow up idiot actors, but Epstein's bosses might be willing to sacrifice them to scare the hell out of the ones that survive or are alive, knowing that they could be next. It would get sympathy. It would distract America. We would say, darn you, Iran, you bad guys. Now we're going to send the Marines in to get you. Right? They need to justify a ground war. We're just underneath 400 people live right now, folks. We're going to get there. Share that internet address right up there at the top of the screen. Send it out. Email, text, fax, carrier pigeon, smoke signal. Get it on out there. All right, that was a great topic. I appreciate that. Jolene, where art thou? And what do we want to put up next? And Ron Stryker is back with a 1776. He says, folks, it's already crazy. and have gone stupid. Next is full retard. I'll tell you what, you never go full retard. Never go full retard. Oh, my goodness. A line from Tropic Thunder where Robert Downey Jr., you guys know Robert Downey Jr.? He's done, Sherlock Holmes. And then he's done the Iron Man, very famous actor. He put on blackface. He was a black man in Vietnam for the movie Tropic Thunder. And if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Funny shit. Anyways, he was like, he told the Ben Stiller guy, you never go full retard. Well, anyways, back to Ron Stryker. He says, get ready, folks. Ammunition prices are spiking. Next is ammo. Oops, I meant to say food prices are next to spiking. By the way, John, did Uman tell you I passed my state boards? Yeah, that's why I was saying congratulations. I thought you would catch that. Congratulations on passing your state boards, brother. I didn't want to say too much. It's nobody else's business. Anyways, yeah, get ready, folks. Food prices are spiking, or ammo prices are spiking. Next is food. Food, fuel. Guess what else? Electricity is going to continue to climb. Our everyday expenses. So expect water to go up. Expect sewer charges to go up. Right? Expect all of this to go up. And when people quit traveling as far and as much because of higher fuel prices, the state isn't going to get as much taxes, are they? They're not going to get taxes on other goods because all of our discretionary income, right? You make this much, it costs this much just to keep your house. So you only have a little bit of money above that to spend. But if it gets sucked away in inflation for fuel, food, ammunition, prepping, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine means get prepared. Get prepared, especially knowing food's going to go up because we're going to have a long-term fuel and energy issue because of Iran not kissing the ass of Israel and saying, you can't tell us what to do. You don't own us. You're not the boss of me. But because of Israel and what it's doing in the Middle East and how they've got Trump, he got a little chain on his testicles, pulling him around by his little scrotes. Because of that, we're going to have massive energy issues. For people that think, yeah, we can get all the energy we need out of Venezuela. No, I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, but everything takes time. You've got to drill the holes. You've got to get equipment down there. You've got to have a pump. You've got to get it out of the ground, right? Everything, get it into ships. Then you have to have a refinery that can handle the lower grade of crude oil that comes out of Venezuela. In other words, we're kind of fucked. Now, the United States is not going to be allowed to use the Strait of Hormuz. That's what Iran has said. Israel, the United States, and any country that harbors or gives aid and comfort to the United States military and government, they're done. If you want your oil to go from the Middle East up through the Suez Canal to the Mediterranean, you've got to kick your Israeli and U.S. ambassadors out of your country. You have to de-Americanize, de-Israelize. Otherwise, our ships are going to have to go all the way south around Africa, south and around Africa, then back up and over to America. It's going to be a lot more expensive, a lot more time. Anyways, everything's going to go up, folks. Get ready. The golden age is not upon us. It's more like the poo age. Shit has hit the fan. All right. We're still bubbling right at the 400 level, folks. Thumbs up the video. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it tells YouTube this is valuable information. Give it a thumbs up. All right. Jolene, we're running on all super chats tonight. I've got everything I want to talk about, but good golly, you guys are hitting some good topics. What do we have out there? And it's Viking checking in with a $20 super chat donation. And he says, this battle will stop the Iranian Republican Revolutionary Guard And with the Abrams Accords, peace will be brought to the Middle East for the very first time. Trump's not going to lose this one. I hope not. I really hope that they can re-up the treaty. You see, the United States had a treaty with Iran. They had a treaty, right? They were not enriching uranium for nuclear weapons until the United States basically tore up the treaty that they were working with Iran, threw it out. So then Iran said, well, fine, then I guess we'll start enriching. And they're not up to weapons grade, but they're getting there. But they said they would destroy that. And then Jared Kushner told Trump, hey, I'm very scared. I think they're gonna bomb us or some shit like that, right? Ridiculous stuff. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. But it would be nice if we could get to those kind of talks again. What Iran has said is, we don't trust you. Last time we were having negotiations, you bombed the shit out of us. And prior to that, Israel bombed inside Qatar. They bombed people that they were negotiating with. See, my problem, Viking, isn't Iran. And my problem isn't Trump and his ability to negotiate with Iran. My problem is who is controlling Trump. Is Trump doing what Trump wants, or is Trump doing what Israel wants? I would love to see peace brought to the Middle East. We were told there'd be no more wars. But what have we gotten? We've gotten Israel attacking Palestine and killing everybody. Now they're attacking Lebanon. They're attacking Syria. They're threatening Georgia. They're threatening Egypt. They're, of course, threatening Iran. And they've even said, we're going to go up and get Turkey. That's our problem. You see, it's not going to be Trump that's going to lose this one. It's going to be, what does Israel do? And can Israel be taught some manners? I don't think so, because they're still trying to get revenge on Europe, America, Russia. They're trying to get their revenge on everybody for the last 3,000 years. All the Old Testament, folks, before Christ, all of their Old Testament enemies, they're calling today's countries those same names. The Amalekites, or the what did they call it? Gog and Magog, right? Everyone is the evil people that they're going to kill. And anyways, I really hope you're right that Trump's not going to lose. I do catch people that say, look, it's just so obvious that all Trump has to do is, he's got these people here, trap them in a lie, deal with them, exterminate them, prosecute them, arrest them. They got all the goods on everybody. It's that 5D chess argument. And I'm like, yes, they've got it all. They've got the Clinton files. They've got the Clinton insurance off of the Wiener laptop. They've got all the Epstein files. They've got all the videos, the pictures, the surveillance. They know everything, right? They seem to know where all the Iranian sleeper cells are. But he hasn't done anything with it. And that's the problem, Viking. He's got all this access, all this authority, all this power, all this information, yet nothing and nobody has been brought to account. But what we have seen is a continuous march, not with peace in the Middle East, but more and more violence, and a call for more and more violence. The United States is more than likely going to be kicked out of the Middle East permanently. And we're going to lose all of that funding permanently. What they're calling for is regional protection of shipping. Meaning they all know they all have to use these waterways. Strait of Hormuz, the Red Sea, all of this stuff, the Persian Gulf. If they all behave and then they can all get along peacefully, that would be great. Because right now, Iran's at odds with everyone because everyone has U.S. missile bases and they're getting attacked and they're all pissed at each other. And like, wait a minute, what's the common denominator? The United States military. Why are they here? Because of Israel. So the United States is their problem. Get them out of their countries, they've been told, and there'll be peace in the region. If this is what it takes to get peace in the region, great. Just don't send in and get any more Americans killed in the process. It's a wild time, folks. Wild time. Thank you, Mr. Viking. Continuing to move on. Let's see. I think we've got some more super chats out there. Let's see. Jolene, who do you think we should put up next? Who do we got out there? And it's Big Dan the Man with a $5 super chat donation. He says, I heard that Bimbo Pam Bondi is sheltered at a military base because of death threats from the cartels. You hear anything about that? The other war, not in the news. Yeah, we got problems with Mexico still. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this. Here it is. Trump is calling out Claudia Sheinbaum, the Israeli-Mexican president. Sheinbaum. Trump has called her out and says, quote, the cartels are running Mexico. We can't have that. So that's the cartel threat that Pam Bondi is using as an excuse. By the way, Big Dan, she's also saying everyone who wants the Epstein files, it makes her feel threatened. I don't know of anyone that is threatening Pam Bondi that she can't just tell the FBI, go arrest that motherfucker. I know that there are death threats. I know. I don't doubt it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to kill me or see me dead. I don't care what they like. It's not their business. My life is not their business. Well, I guess maybe they think it is. Who knows? But that's the word, is that Pam and other important administration officials have been brought from their private residences and stationed in bases and bomb shelter type places. I don't know what to make about it. I did find it interesting. I saw a commercial for a cruise line, and one of their stops they said was Puerto Vallarta. I laughed out loud. Puerto Vallarta, where Mexican drug cartels are blowing shit up, setting things on fire, robbing everyone blind, raping, killing, taking hostages. Not a great commercial. Anyways, yeah. You hear anything about that other war not in the news? I mean, which war are we talking about? The cartel war? Are we talking about the Iranian news? Because in a lot of ways, it's not in the news either. It isn't. I find it fascinating that we're not seeing and hearing about it on the news. I mean, I do hear and read headlines. I do see videos, but not as much as you would think. There's not all kinds of claims of military victory. You've got Secretary of War, Hegseth, who stands up in one podium, and then Joint Chiefs of Staff, other talking head at the other podium, and they don't look happy. They don't look pleased. They don't sound confident. They sound flustered. They can't or won't tell us how many Americans have been injured, how many Americans have been killed. They're acting suspicious. They're acting very suspicious. And because of the terrorism, the fact that Pam Bondi and other members of the administration are being moved onto bases, they're scared. They're scared of these cartels. They're scared of the sleeper cells that Trump says he's well aware of. But interestingly, we're supposed to accept the idea that these illegals are good people and they can stay here. We need workers. It's all a lie, by the way. Americans are demanding to stop third world immigration and deport every single one of these people because of the terror incidents in Texas, up in Michigan. Small terror incidents all over the country. And interestingly, the Utes are getting out of hand. They did it in Cincinnati. They tried taking over the streets, and the police there, interestingly, in Cincinnati, stopped it, arrested people, and booked them in. And that was a big part of the news. They were like, yeah, we actually arrested these little bastards and stopped their shit. But other places around the country, and then we're getting the typical racist badgering and attacks from non-Americans who, well, claim that they're Americans. All right, thank you, Big Dan, for that great super chat. I think you've hit the trifecta, the hat trick already. What else do we want to talk about out there? Jolene, who's up next? And it's Chelsea Polzine. It's Chelsea and husband. And she did a $50 Venmo super chat donation, and that means I get a tall one right there. I'm going to keep myself tuned up. And once again, folks, the the super chat, especially the big ones, everything adds up, and it pays for electricity. It pays for the scotch, of course. It pays to keep the lights on, the water on. It keeps the pantry shelves full of Spam, tuna fish, rice, and beans. Here's to you, Chelsea. Thank you much. Oh, that was a good one. Cheers, Prepared Mind families. This is Chelsea. Kick-ass show as always. You got it. Stay alert, stay ready. Topic of your choice, John. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, everyone, stay alert. I had a friend say, I've got this is a female friend. I've got a 357 Magnum. I'm thinking of carrying it. I said, you should, every day. She's got a purse that's adequate size to carry it. And I said, you should. Nobody knows it's there. Right? And she said, I just kind of feel funny carrying it all the time. And I was like, well, the only time that you're going to need it is the time you definitely need it. And, she's got the license, has all the rules. But it's just now there's a feeling that you need to carry all the time. And I think that's actually probably really a good attitude to have, is you need to carry all the time. If you're licensed or the law allows you to open or conceal carry, do it. Do it. Get used to it. I really think it's important. Now, let's see. What do I want to talk about here? How about this? This is a good one. Our military, there are reports, Chelsea, that our military is objecting to fighting for Israel. Or at least there's a segment of the military that's saying we don't want to fight for Israel. And there's a status that they can get. And it's not new. It's called a conscientious objector. All you have to do is fill out some paperwork and you're done. You're exempt. Conscientious objector. We talked about the one ship where they were allegedly throwing socks, T-shirts, underwear, and clogging toilets, causing it to back up. We're not getting the straight story out of the military, out of the government, out of the mainstream media, or out of the patriot crowds, because there's a lot of people in the patriot community. They want to get headlines, they want to troll people, they want to get clickbait, and so they lie. They lie about stuff. They make shit up. They exaggerate grossly, and I don't appreciate that. But here we are, right? So, we don't really know what's going on, but we also get releases from the other side. And currently, Iran is tempting United States government allies to abandon this war with Israel and to abandon the United States. We use the phrase or term, Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz. Iran said, no, it is not closed. The Strait of Hormuz is open to all nations except the United States, Israel, and their allies. Now, this announcement by Iran, right? This is part of the public relations war. This is part of the PSYOP, psychological operations. This is part of the propaganda war, the media war, the war for hearts and minds, all of these things. After after the United States urged the whole world to send warships to secure the Strait of Hormuz. That's when Iran came out and said, Strait's open. You just can't be an ally of the United States. You can't be an ally of Israel. See, Trump asked for China. China told them, Strait's not closed. It's not our problem. Also, what I believe, France, Italy, and other countries, Trump was trying to get them. If we're winning the war, if we're defeating and smashing Iran, somehow not magically killing all of their people, we're just taking out government and military installations. Right? That's what you would hope, because I thought we were trying to free the Iranian people and free the Iranian women and free the Iranian women's soccer team. We need to free them so they can have transgenders playing on their soccer team. Anyways, Trump urges the world to open it up, secure it. The rest of the world is like, I don't know. If any country refuses, though, to abandon its allied status with Israel and the United States of America, or the United States government, rather, those nations cannot use the strait. They'll get bombed, and they've been sunk. Right? That's not a good place to be. It's not a good place to go. But in order to get this open status, right? How do you get out of your allied relationship with the United States? Well, I believe one of the things is you can't have any U.S. military bases, air bases, marine bases, any bases, army bases, naval shipyards, nothing, right? If they don't do this, though, this is where they're at. China, they're good. China's good with Iran, obviously. Russia's good with Iran. If any nation refuses to abandon the United States of America, they're not going to be able to send ships back and forth through the Strait of Hormuz Strait of Hormuz and the Suez Canal. That means Qatar. That means Kuwait. That means Saudi Arabia. That means Bahrain. That means United Arab Emirates. That means all of these countries in the Middle East. You can't be friends with the U.S. and be friendly with Iran. So if they don't get rid of the United States military and tell their diplomats to get the fuck out, their nations are going to suffer. Iran is enforcing a NATO Article 5 type system all by itself. Russia's not part of that. China's not part of that. It's Iran saying, we control the strait. You can't stop us. And they're doing it, friends. They're doing it. The only way to stop them right now would be to drop nukes on them. I don't know if you want to see that. I don't know if I want to see that. Nuclear weapons and strike Tehran, Iran, strike anything close to being around the Strait of Hormuz, strike their military bases, strike the Houthis, the Somalis, the Yemenis, the Omanis, all of these fucked up countries. They could hit them with nukes, and that would do it. Are we ready to go there? Can the United States of America do something else? Yeah. You can send ships around Africa and back up the coast to America. They can do that. It just adds a couple of weeks of shipping time each way. So higher energy costs permanently. Or we can continue to battle Iran and hope that they don't keep doing what they do for months and months and then even years and years. Remember, a bunch of these goat fucking camel jockeys in Afghanistan were able to fight our military for well over a decade, killing hundreds and killing thousands of soldiers and Marines. All just to give it back to them, right, government? Anyways, thank you very much, Chelsea. I appreciate the support, appreciate the drink, and it's extremely frustrating. The options are not great. If a European nation wants anything to pass through the Strait of Hormuz from China or anywhere else, because I believe that they're going to check and go, well, you're a ship from China, but where are you going? Oh, you're going to America? I don't think so. Right? See, this is a weird one because China trades with the whole world. I don't know. I think China just sends things from China and heads east across the Pacific to America. But who knows, right? Who knows? I guess anything they would send west up through the Strait and the Suez Canal to Europe is not going to America. So they're okay. In any event, it's going to get really interesting. It's going to get expensive for us, right? They're going to hurt us. Hopefully everyone gets a nice tax cut. Hopefully. All right, let's continue, shall we? Jolene, who's up next? Woo! Broke Stacker is back again with another $4.99 super chat. And he says, we had any sense. Maybe that is, if we had any sense, we should just help these countries build the power plants and be their sole source of enriched uranium. Then they can modernize. Okay, great topic. Holy shit, says Jolene. I'm going to be screwed. Okay, Broke Stacker. Try and help me out, Jolene. Spread them out. Okay, Brad, we're talking about power plants. We're talking now about nuclear power plants, which is the only power plant that uses enriched uranium. Here's the deal. Korea has nuclear power plants. Russia has nuclear power plants. China has nuclear power plants that are different than American nuclear power plants. Who do you think is going to be least expensive to buy from? The Russians have been in nuclear power as long as the U.S. has. Very safe. Chernobyl was a one and done. It was a big mistake, an engineering fuck up. They built one of them and it melted down. That's Chernobyl. Rest of Russian reactors have gone just fine. Okay, China is building a ton of reactors. And here's the deal. America can't be the sole source of enriched uranium. I'm not going to tell you I'm an expert, but I understand that the United States of America, we get 20% of our power from nuclear power. We are the largest consumer of uranium on the planet for nuclear power. But we don't produce enough uranium to even feed ourselves. Meaning the United States of America doesn't have enough domestic uranium because they shut it all down when Russia, the Soviet Union fell down, and they turned megatons into megawatts. That was the name of the program. Megatons to megawatts. In other words, turning military grade enriched uranium for bombs into watered down light duty nuclear fuel uranium. And so all of our mines have closed. They got shuttered. They got mothballed. And all of the equipment went bad. It sold off, went bad, got used, ruined, rusted, whatever. Here we are, 30 years later, and we can't be the one to supply the world with uranium and supply the world with the technology to make nuclear reactors. We lost that advantage decades ago, sadly, Broke Stacker. Otherwise, your idea would make perfect fucking sense. If we had, from the mine to refinement to enrichment to processing to fabrication of fuel pellets for the nuclear power plants, that'd be fucking great. If we could do that and supply the world and say, you don't have to enrich your own uranium, here you go, and at a competitive cost. Unfortunately, America is a very expensive place to manufacture. We don't have enough uranium mines to feed even our own country, even though they're coming online. We got Energy Fuels, you got Encore Energy, you got Peninsula, you got Uranium Energy Corporation, you've got Anfield, you've got URG. There's a lot of mining companies. They just don't produce enough. They don't produce enough. And not all of them are even producing. They're still trying to demothballize them for the last 5 years. Now, this is where we're at in that game. And I've been watching it, Broke Stacker, for 6 years. Seriously been paying attention for 6 years. The uranium market, the nuclear energy market, all of that. And they've really done very little to make any progress, to up the uranium production, to get in the refining, to get in the conversion, to get in the processing for fuel, the fabrication of fuel. They've done very little to get from where we were to where we need to be. And the price of uranium is way too fucking cheap to get it done quickly. There's not enough money. We need a lot of money thrown into that sector. And the government promised $10 billion. Where the fuck are you going with $10 billion? When it comes to nuclear power plants of significant size, right? But helping other countries, I think, this idea that you brought up, that'd be great. But you see, what the United States has been doing is threatening other countries. Do it our way or we're going to cut you off. Do it our way or we're going to cut you off. Do it our way or we're going to tariff you. We're going to tax you. We're going to tariff you. We're going to tax you. We're going to tariff you. Threats, 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 threats. Russia, you're cut off. We're freezing your assets. Other countries are like, why do we want to deal with that shit when we can work with China and Russia? And they help us and build our infrastructure. They give us money. We get to do trade back and forth without the threats and without the risk. That's the way the world has been going. So Trump's art of the deal of go in and threaten everyone like they have to use, they have to get through Trump's gateway, if you will. They don't have to. It's not that world anymore. It's not that world anymore. Energy doesn't have to go through the United States and use the dollar anymore. They're going and using the BRICS payment system, the cross-border payment system. Right? Russia is supplying Europe with energy because they keep fucking themselves up. Europe doesn't have a source of energy. They've got the US and Canada. They've got the Middle East. They've got Russia. Big, big trouble. Thank you, Broke Stacker. Jolene, let's do it. Let's have some fun. Woo! I got about 18 minutes left on the show. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to everything, but Davey D is checking in with a 5357 super chat. Womp womp. Everyone should know Davey D likes the 357 Magnum. I do as well. That's why I own 2 of them. Anyways, so he's done the $50, which gets me a Scotch, single malt, and 357 is done out of love. Thank you, Davey D. Here we go. I feel myself slipping over the edge, guys. Oh, man. Woo! Very nice. Keep the old brains lubricated, limber, stretched, and ready to go. Davey says, if my house, F this global crap, I warned about this Gulf War era. I'm going Stone Age before they blast me. Oh, my goodness. Well, being a prepper puts you in the position to do whatever you want. Now, I know there's this guy. He's got a channel called Off Grid Arizona. It's Backcountry Preps Vaughn. He moved out in the middle of nowhere, living off grid. When I left the country to the RMZ, I was off the grid. Right? Basically, well, it was Stone Ages. I was collecting water with the tarp. It was a very tropical environment, so it rained every day. Enough to get me water to drink and cook with and bathe with and then clean my laundry with. Caveman. Caveman living in a tent, and that was fun and exciting. What an interest. But, if they do decide to blast us, I think this is where I was going. Preppers, we have an opportunity to protect ourselves from, nuclear radiation. You should have gas masks. So if there's a chemical or biological attack, we should be okay that way. Unless you're the first one hit with it. No one ever wants to be the first one. Gas. But if there's a food shortage, if they turn off the water, one of the big threats they're talking about is not blasting us with bombs, Dave, but rather cyber bombing the banking system. But you see, I don't think that Iran wants to do that. Well, not to me and you and us. And that's, let's take them at their word. They don't want to hurt the American people. They just want to cripple Washington, D.C. And of course, their Jewish or Israeli allies. That's New York City. Can Iran hack into the banks and destroy them without destroying us? I don't know. Can they cripple the banking system, which would just completely jack up the stock market? Well, once again, that hurts us, the people. Anyone who's got a 401k, which I don't. Anyone who's got an IRA, which I don't. Anyone who's got, what's that other one? Anyways, there's a bunch of different investment vehicles out there that people are putting their work money in to Roth IRA. There we go, to avoid taxes. We're still in the Gulf War, and I hadn't thought of it that way. We've been in the Gulf War since the early 90s. Since the early 90s. With Iraq, Afghanistan, all of these little skirmishes everywhere, right? You got Mogadishu and Somalia and all this shit. And now we've got Iran. Go Stone Age, right? Get your own power, source of water, lots of food, the ability to grow food. You can go Stone Age, man, but still, stay on top of things. Anyways, great scotch. Thank you, sir. Bam. And then this Gulf War era crap. Where do they go next? Oh, that reminds me of something I used to say. Look, we used to have big wars like World War I, World War II, and then it was smaller regional wars like Vietnam, North Korea, fighting communists, and now it's energy war in the Middle East, the Gulf War era. The next set of wars, in my opinion, no more wars overseas. It's going to be countries battling and fighting in their own borders, fighting amongst themselves. Because we can't afford a world war unless they want to go nuclear, and then all bets are off. But they're making life so hard in England, all over every European nation, in Canada, America, Australia. They brought in all of these people to cause internal fighting. And that's what they're pushing for. Our country has Persians, Iranians. It has all of their allies. It has all of the Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah, Hamas, pro-Palestinian, all those terrorist groups. Then we got communist terror groups like Antifa and communist trans terror groups like the Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ pedophile groups. They're all extremely violent and in our country. This is where the fight comes next. Our country. But we got to finish up in the Gulf. We got to finish that game, right? It's like playing cards. You're winning or you're losing at a good pile of chips, but you can't get to the next game until you finish this one. We've got to finish this Gulf War crap, figure out who does and doesn't love the U.S., where are we going to get our oil from, our energy, our lifeblood for the country. And then it's going to be fight for control or fight for freedom. Thank you, Davey D, very much. Jolene, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? Is Mr. Skylight is in. And here he is. This normally Mr. Skylight gives us quotes from very important people. Don't forget to do that, man. $19.99 super chat donation. He says, "Hi, brother. Oh, retired Major Jeffrey Prather is reporting that his sources say Netanyahu is dead. Generalissimo Francisco is still dead." Okay. Netanyahu's dead after being flown to a base in Germany in an induced coma after being hit by an Iranian missile in Israel. Your thoughts, please. Okay, we have a lot of former military out there, folks, that are pro-war and anti-war, and some are neutral war. They just want to talk about what's going on. So you got Jeffrey Prather. You also have Colonel Douglas. I've almost said MacArthur. It's not MacArthur. Anyways, Douglas McGregor. There we go. We've got these guys, and they are not telling the story that Washington wants to tell. So they seem to be more neutral, looking at risks and downstream effects in a more, shall we say, neutral aspect. So Jeffrey Prather has been around a long time, talking on the internet, and he and people like Colonel McGregor have sources inside the military. I am certain they being who they are and not being on Team Trump or Team Biden or Team Pentagon, they may not get the information 100% right, but they're getting sources, right? Anyways, yeah, hit by an Iranian missile. That could be that picture that has been released. May have been alive still, but now they're saying he's dead. He did fly out of Germany, which I found interesting. Several days ago, can't tell you exactly when. I remember that Netanyahu was leaving Israel, and the critics accused him of being cowardly for leaving his country behind while they're facing serious bombing. He was flying around and ended up, of course, in Germany. But I'm pretty sure, or I thought anyways, that he addressed the nation with his leadership council from Germany. Now that leadership council is met, no Netanyahu, and no that squinty-eyed fat fucker who is a complete, well, I tell you folks, there's a lot of these people are complete jackasses, and I don't want them, I don't want anyone to die, but they're doing it to themselves. Crazy business, but interesting. Thank you, Mr. Skylight. I'm inclined to believe Netanyahu's dead because he did not appear with his leadership council. Other members are missing. There's been significant bombing, and the panic that came out of the White House, or the appearance of panic, the unsettling, unconfident attitude of the Pentagon and the Secretary of War. And then very interestingly, the other day, Mr. Skylight, you remember when Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, was doing an interview with some foreign fuck, and he was asked or told the White House needs you right away. And when he came back, he was, they were talking about Scott Bessent again, sat down. He was very disturbed. He was very distracted. He was stuttering. And then he tried talking about what's going on in Iran and tried letting everyone know that, well, their sons are going to end up being drafted. They're going to have to go fight. And it was very awkward and very painful in a way, watching someone who's normally calm, cool, collected, not being able to even speak. And he was visibly shaking. His head was shaking, saying no while he tried talking. And we have all the answers we need to what's going on. He kept shaking his head no. It was a massive psychological failure for him to jump back into it without collecting himself. And anyway, those are my thoughts, Mr. Skylight. Thank you for the great support, both on the channel here and then behind the scenes. Jolene, we go as usual as long as there's super chats. Who's up next? And the world's a little shaky. Holy bananas. It is Jace Big John up north with a $100 super chat. Here's the scotch. Here's the glass. Here we go. I'm going to have a rough work week start because you guys are doing a great job of supporting the channel. And this is how it goes. Thank you, Big John, for everything you do and taking good care of the channel also. It's calming me down. I feel no pain. It's actually making me a little bit drowsy. And instead of getting overly aggravated, I'm, for some reason, very calm today. Thank you, Glenn Fiddick. So John Jace 1701 says, we fight everyone else's wars. We have open threats of sleeper cells. And we can't get a restoration of our Second Amendment rights even under active threat. What a brilliant point to make. We're fighting wars around the world. We have how many hundreds of military bases? I mean, literally hundreds and hundreds of military bases around the world, in the Pacific, in Japan, in Korea, in the South Pacific, Taiwan, in the Middle East, all those countries in the Middle East. We've got bases all over Europe, England. We've got bases in Denmark. No, wait, sorry. Greenland. We got bases all over the place. We're being threatened by everyone on the planet, but us, the citizens, they keep trying to say, you can't have guns. Those are military-grade weapons. Those are assault weapons. Well, U.S. Constitution, Second Amendment. It's worded exactly. It says exactly what it means. It's not real vague. A well-regulated, meaning practiced, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. You mean like national security? The right of the people, that's me and you, to keep and bear arms. That means all guns and weapons. Back then they had cannons, muskets, rifles, bombs, petards, right? Also rockets, early rockets. Anyways, that shall not be infringed. Meaning, no, you can't infringe. Infringe means to get close, to get near, to be on the edge of. They're not even allowed to do that. Now, if Trump and his handlers insist all this is winning, we the people should get something too and finally get our rights back. You see, and that's another thing is our rights. And I know I talk about this a lot, and for everyone who knows, you know. If you disagree, I'd like to know why. But it goes, God created the universe. He made man. A bunch of men got together in 1776 and told a king to go to hell. And then they got together and they put together a constitution by we the people, ratified in 1789. That constitution, which I refer to in this book all the time, created the government. And the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence gave us the recipe for dealing with an out-of-control, tyrannical, despotic, evil government. And the First Amendment and the Second Amendment are key to that. Now, if Trump and his handlers insist on all this winning, yeah. If we're being threatened, then we should have guns. Oh, but we got the military. Well, there was no call in the Constitution for a standing military, by the way. A standing army is what they used to call it. They believed that a standing army was a threat to our liberties and freedoms. Turns out it's standing law enforcement at the city, county, state, and federal level that is our threat. And they are militarized now. But getting our rights back is not going to happen. And I don't want to be a pessimist here, but we've tried. We've tried voting with the government to, one, recognize all of our rights and restore our Constitution fully. Get rid of all emergency orders, all executive orders. We don't give a shit about that. We want our constitutional republic. So we tried voting for it. That has failed. That leaves us only one other remedy, and that is to, well, I take that back. You can secede from the Union, states, or regional areas. And of course, the government's not going to want to do that, right? Every other country can, leave and join the United States as one of our good allies, but American United States, that'll be interesting. The other thing is a full-on social war, partisan war, and ultimately a civil war or a restoration war to restore our Constitution. The government's not just going to do it. The government is like a very bad parent. They're going to claim without them we can't live. They're going to claim that you don't get dinner or breakfast, you don't get dessert, you don't get anything. You're going to go to your room and stay locked down. You don't get any toys, no fun time. You're grounded. Right? That's what bad parents do, is they just threaten you and then they take everything from you and make you dislike them. Instead of going, oh, okay, maybe I need to look what I'm doing as the parent. Right? The government doesn't do that. They just see their power, their authority, and they want to use it. It's a great super chat donation. The one good thing that's happening, and I will say this, I'll cover this side, is judges at the federal level and the appellate level, and also the Supreme Court for the last 25 years, have ruled in our favor that the Second Amendment applies to us, the people. It applies to all of our rights. It's not a collective right, it's an individual right to have, keep, and use weapons to defend ourselves and to defend the state if necessary and to defend others. That's all been upheld. And now we're pushing for what? Concealed and open carry from state to state. As in, there's no restrictions in any state. The Second Amendment says what the Second Amendment says. Also, it would be great if they get rid of the National Firearms Act that they passed in the 1920s in an effort when they were scaring the world with the mafia and all of their guns, right? The Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Organization, the BATF, they need to get rid of the firearms on that. Let them play with alcohol and tobacco and explosives, but firearms need to come out of there. In any event, there's a lot of winning going on. Jolene, who's next? Thank you, Big John. Appreciate the great support. And we got Jay Miskinnis checking in with a bam $2 super sticker. Thank you, Mr. Miskinnis. And this is what he says. Hello. Recently, Donald Trump allegedly issued a statement about watching what happens to the deranged scumbags. I created a YouTube channel named Deranged Scumbags, like WKRP's Scum of the Earth. Watching what happens to the deranged scumbags. I know he's been criticizing everybody. Trump has. He criticizes the America First people who don't want America to be great again by fighting wars for Israel. So I know that Trump has a problem with them. He has a problem with the Democrats. He has a problem with the media. The mainstream media still hates him. Democrats still have Trump derangement syndrome. It's funny that you created a YouTube channel called Deranged Scumbags. I wish you a ton of success on that one. Folks, I invite you to go to Deranged Scumbags on YouTube, Deranged Scumbags channel on YouTube. Check it out. I don't know, because in order to get a lot of these deranged scumbags, Trump is going to have to, he's going to have to reveal and release the Epstein files. There's no other way to get all the deranged scumbags. If he's talking about just us people on the right, I don't know what he plans on doing to us, unless they want to debank us. freeze our assets, freeze all of our money in banks and tell us we can't have a bank account. And I don't think the government can do that. That would be a form of financial terrorism and an act of war against the people of the United States of America. So we'll find out. We'll find out. Thank you, Mr. Miskinnis. Jolene, holy cow, we've gone past 2 hours, 2 hours and 5 minutes. Miskinnis says it would be very helpful to save a soundbite of John saying, deranged scumbags, that I could use in a song or promo content of the new YouTube channel. Deranged scumbags. Right? Deranged scumbags. How else could I say it? Deranged scumbags. Okay, Mr. Miskinnis. Thanks, man. Jolene, who's next? There's so much to talk about. So little time, so little energy, so much, rest and recuperation I need. Okay, let us do this. What do we got? Yes, we can do it. Let's close this out. Let's have some fun. Hey, it's Chelsea and husband back again. $49.99 super chat donation. I'm gonna be paying for this tomorrow. I'm keeping it together. Topic of my choice says Chelsea and husband. Rut-row. Okay, I've got some topics, and this is going to be interesting. You're going to like this one. Semper Fi, one and all. Watch your six. Watch everybody. Don't trust anybody. I don't care what color, religion, race, age, how they're dressed. Nothing. Watch your back. Woo! Okay. About a month ago, I called for either state or local district attorneys, like state attorney generals, local district attorneys, to prosecute the criminals, the child molesters, the sick, twisted, evil people in the Epstein files. Like about a month ago, I started saying, look, they've committed crimes in states. These people live in a variety of states. But now, get this, it has started. A Philadelphia district attorney named Larry Krasner has been speaking very publicly saying he and his office is going to go after these Epstein people. It kind of reminds me of the district attorney Jim Garrison, who from New Orleans tried prosecuting people for the conspiracy of JFK, the assassination. And he brought in Clay Bertrand, as his defendant. And if you watch the movie JFK by Oliver Stone, fantastic movie. But this guy is doing something very similar, right? Jim Garrison was in New Orleans, Louisiana. JFK was killed in Dallas, Texas. How did he have jurisdiction? Well, Clay Bertrand was in and occupied and worked out of New Orleans. And so Lee Harvey Oswald was working in New Orleans with an FBI agent who had an office that was shared with a bunch of counter-revolutionaries out of Cuba. David Ferry and other mercenaries were working out of that. So that's all they needed. They just have to have jurisdiction and venue. So Larry Krasner told everyone who's part of the Jeffrey Epstein group, his trafficking empire, he said their prosecutors are coming for him, folks. And he also said this: there's not a thing Donald Trump can do about it. That's a paraphrase, not a quote. There's not a thing Donald Trump can do about it because it's a state issue. There's a lot of crimes in those papers, folks. Millions of papers. And Larry Krasner is in Philadelphia. which means Pennsylvania. And there's a good chance that someone's going to get killed over this. Crazy business, folks. Crazy business. And speaking of crazy business, I think I am done. I want to thank all of you for getting me very well medicated and making the pain. I haven't felt the pain the whole show, which is great. Tomorrow's a work day. Tomorrow and the week it's on. It's work. It's SHTF. It's World War III. It's what's coming next. I hope to see you all week. And remember, please get prepared. It is so critical. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? I'll see you guys tomorrow.